Tacoma Mods aren't for these kind of people, and I used to be one. Well, good morning, everybody. How are you today? Pretty good here, and that's right. Tacoma Mods aren't for these kinds of people, and I really did used to be one. You know, what am I talking about, right? Well, first of all, let's take a quick look at some of the mods that I have on the truck. You know, some are pretty simple, right? I mean, putting a bed rack on the truck, that's pretty simple. You just put it together. It just bolts down on the sides. It's pretty easy. Putting these racks on the side, they're really pretty easy, not too difficult. Even something as simple as a couple of stickers, right? I mean, anybody can do those. They don't take much time. There's tons of other mods, some a lot more detailed on the truck. But these kind, anybody can do. Even the little plate down here, the little beaver tail step, it just plugs in. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to do it. You don't have to be very skilled. But what I'm really talking about are the more tedious mods, right? And the kind of people I'm talking about, the kind of people that Tacoma Mods aren't for, are the impatient. And I used to be one of those. You know, I'd go out, give myself about 3 minutes to do a mod. If it didn't work, I was either going to throw in the towel, send it back, or break it to try to make it work. I have broken many things in the past because I just didn't take the time. I was impatient. They didn't work as quickly as I thought they would. Now, I have a couple examples of these, things that have taken way more time than you would think, but they do require patience, and in the end, if you give it the time that it takes, they will work. Let me show you what I'm talking about. First off, and no, I'm not talking about sticking this little magnetic decal on the side. I'm talking about the light bar in the front, right? I have this LED light bar up here, and it was very tedious to get in. There's a couple of pieces you have to take off, and then there are some brackets that you actually have to bolt onto some existing bolting points in the truck. So you have to remove the bolts, and then you have to try to finagle your hand down in there, probably cutting it up a little bit because you are rubbing against some metal parts and things in there. And it's very tedious. The throw for the wrench is very short. It'll take you 10 times as long to go ahead and tighten those bolts back on while you're trying to tighten the bolts that are on the brackets themselves, because the brackets are two-piece and they move around. So you're trying to position everything, get it in there while the light bar is attached. And of course, you're being careful not to break or damage your $300, $400 or more $100 light bar that you've got. Very tedious work and requires a ton of patience to do. Never gave up on this myself, but I got to tell you, I started to wonder if indeed I was ever going to get this thing on. Looks awesome once it's there, but it does take a lot of patience. Now, more recently than that, I just did the Tacoma driver's side grab handle, right? Now, you wouldn't think this would take any patience, right? I mean, you just go ahead and remove the existing trim piece, put the new one on, slide the grab handle in the slots for it, put the screws in, and be done with it, right? Well, I'm here to tell you, it's not quite that simple, unless you get really, really lucky. Let me hop in here, show you what I'm talking about. There are two screws that go in this thing behind these covers, right? One is in an existing screw point. It's already there. It's already threaded. You just go ahead and try to put the bolt that was supplied into it. Angle is the problem, right? This does have a little bit of play in it as far as lining it up on there. And you have to have that screw positioned exactly, precisely, properly, how's those words, in the hole before the threads will take and you get it going. Now, down here on the bottom, there's actually a little bolting point on the Tacoma already that you have what I'll call a slip nut. It's kind of a sandwiching kind of thing, metal that slides over that little nub that's down there, and there's some play in it. It will move back and forth, which of course changes the position of the hole that you have to screw into. Also, in the grab handle itself behind here is a round hole that the screw goes through, obviously, and there's a little bit of play in that as far as where that bolt goes through. So not only do you have to have it positioned properly in the hole, You also have to make sure that that little nut, that little slip nut that you put over the nub on the frame of the Tacoma is in the right position so that that bolt is going to hit or line up when you're putting it in. Now, I spent, and I'm not kidding, I spent probably at least an hour, it might have been 2 hours, trying to get those two bolts in. Now, it's not because it's a horrible design or anything, it's just the way it is. You know, to be able to bolt that piece on, the grab handle, you kind of have to have those bolts in there, recessed in the handle, if you will, to be able to screw it down. It just takes patience. Now, I've heard from a few people who have tried to do this. One in particular, who had the same trouble I did, sent me a message asking if there was any trick or anything like that when I put mine in. There was no trick, just patience. It just took time. So I would allot yourself at least 2 or 3 times the amount stated for whatever product is that you're going to get. And I know a lot of people out there watch the videos and they see people doing these and think that something must be wrong because they're not able to get it done as quickly as the person who's doing the mod is. Now, what you have to keep in mind when you're watching these videos is that they're edited, right? I mean, nobody wants to sit there and watch me, for example, screw around trying to get 2 bolts in 2 holes for 2 hours. I mean, nobody's going to watch that. And frankly, nobody wants to see it. That's why I don't film it. That's why most YouTubers don't film it, because nobody wants to see it. And myself, anyway, I do try to be honest and state that it does take a long time and it is going to be rather difficult to do from a tedious standpoint, and you have to have patience to do it. So those are the 2 examples I have of where you really need a lot of patience. And if you're not the kind of person that has patience, then doing these kind of mods is probably not for you. You're going to be disappointed. Either you're going to give up or you're going to break something trying to do it. Like, for example, forcing those screws in and stripping them out. That would be worst case, because I got to tell you, once you have everything aligned perfectly and you have that trim piece reslotted back where it needs to go, let me show you what I'm talking about there. You don't want to take it out again, right? And what I'm talking about there is right down here in the front. You do have to reslot this thing in, and once you get it in the right spot, which can take a couple minutes too, by the way, no way do you want to pull it out again and start over. I know, because I did it 2 or 3 times trying to find a better way to get those bolts in. So anyway, leave a comment, let me know. Are you an impatient person? Have you gone to do mods before and actually given up or maybe broken something because you just weren't patient enough? I've done it. Let me know. Also, real quick, if you're interested, check out my other channel. It is RobMotive JT, all about my 2020 Jeep Gladiator back there. Don't forget to click that notification bell so that you don't miss out on any upcoming videos. And do me a favor, smash that subscribe button on the way out. Thanks for watching. Stay patient out there. Bye.